Okay, it is January the 7th, Sunday evening, just after the weekly open. Let's do the market outlook and plans for the week ahead. So we've got a big one this week, guys. This is the official ETF week, so that is going to be the major news narrative, sort of event going on this week. Definitely should expect it to produce some volatility, so I'm looking forward to a good environment for some potential trades. So let's go ahead and get into things. Let's start off with the Bitcoin rundown. We'll begin with the higher time frame. Nothing's changed from the recent outlooks, but we'll just do a quick little TLDR from it. So as it stands, the expected, range that we're working with is 45 to 38 on the macro scale. The real range is about 40,000 to 44,000. So that's the range we're working with right now. The plans are that if Bitcoin is able to get above the 45K region, which is the 2021 yearly VWAP, then we should be able to get towards the 2021 value area high at 54K. If Bitcoin loses the 40K region, we're working with, trading down towards 38K. If Bitcoin loses 38K, then we're trading down towards 32K. The ultimate plan is to try to buy 32K. Whether we trade upwards or downwards, out of this range immediately, I do think that we should get an opportunity eventually to buy 32K as the macro dip buying territory. There is a potential scenario that we ran through on the stream on Friday where 38K ends up being the support. But ideally, it would be 32K, which would be the area where I look to add on to the long-term spot holdings to swing into the potential bull market scenario. So as far as the higher time frame, nothing has really changed. We're wedged between two kind of key regions. Price is compressing in a triangle formation, so price is getting really tight right now as we get towards the ETF headlines. So there's definitely going to be some volatility this week, which I'm obviously looking forward to. But as far as higher time frame is concerned, I think that on a macro scale, this bull trend isn't going to go away anytime soon, and then we're probably going to continue to trade up. In the immediate term, though, there's always a scenario where, following the ETF hype being over, that we do bleed down a little bit and look for our next kind of, macro dip buying territory. So again, nothing's really changed on the higher time frame. The core, focus for the entire market is around what's, how's this ETF situation going to resolve. So, for the time being, the macro plans don't really matter. Everything's just on hold waiting for this decision. It's pretty straightforward. So we'll go ahead and we'll touch on the ETF here in a moment after we get into the medium time frame. So let's go ahead and do that first. Let's do the medium time frame outlook. So the medium time frame outlook is that ever since we had the impulse to 34K, there's been a slow value shift upwards, building these kind of triangles, which lead to really tight price action, which is leading to further expansion. What it looks like we're working with right now is the continuation of that. We have clear supply at 45K, which is our macro resistance that we had talked about, but we are setting consecutive higher lows and compressing up into this region. So the longer this picture builds out, where we continue to compress into this region, the more likely we are to break. And because of the trend is up, the likelihood of us breaking to the upside is much higher than to the downside, the way that things are currently shaping up. So as far as the medium time frame is concerned, the triangle formation is extremely important. The other kind of thing to point out is going to be the composite structuring, right? So these are the high and the low of the current composite structuring. So we really have a lot of confluence points that if price is able to actually get above this HVN region, which it's currently resting inside, we should be able to trade up pretty aggressively towards 54K. For more information, check out the Paragon group with the link below, where I cover everything from how I trade to how you can develop your own style. Right now, some of the key things I'm looking at within this current range, or this high volume node that we pointed out, and this low volume node, as long as we're building value in this high volume node, I'm leaning a little bit more bullish. If we start to get into this low volume node, that's pretty bearish. And if we get below this low volume node, which would be us getting below the weakened composite structure as well, if we start to get below, call it 43.3 or 43.4, I would be pretty bearish at that point. So for the time being, I actually am on risk on still, which is definitely pretty aggressive, but we'll talk about that here in a moment. So that's pretty much it from the range. Another thing to point out is going to be the anchored VWAP. Definitely still keeping a key eye. I've been running the anchored VWAP from the 34K impulse ever since we had that move, and keeping a close eye. I want to see this upper, standard deviation 1. So basically value area high for this anchored VWAP. I want to see hold, which is more confluence for that region. So the last quick conversation to have on medium time frame Bitcoin is going to be around the ETF. So I'm not going to cover out all the ETF plans because I already did that on the Friday stream. So I think that's already been covered sufficiently. But obviously, just a quick little conversation around the ETF it needs to be had because it's going to be really important. We're mere hours away. I bet you that those announcements, I'm recording this at, 5 my time, and I bet within, probably 14 hours, those announcements start to roll through, maybe even less than that potentially. So my intention is to be, up super early in my time zone so that I don't have any issues with having to wake up to volatility, right? So that pretty much covers it for the medium time frame Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and move over into altcoins. So the theme for altcoins is essentially that the majority of the altcoin market is very clearly in a de-risking stage. The signs of froth in altcoins are definitely there over the past couple of weeks. Bulls are being just getting rewarded, right? And going into this event, it seems pretty obvious that people don't seem interested in holding that risk going into the event. If the Bitcoin ETF gets rejected, altcoins are going to get obliterated, right? And you won't have a lot of time to react. So I really think that being flat on altcoins is for sure the play. I wouldn't want to be short them either, right? Because if Bitcoin ETFs get approved, the altcoins will go up a lot off the back of Bitcoin carrying them. So being flat on altcoins going in this week is definitely the play. So the majority of them look terrible right now. I've actually had to revise my lists pretty dramatically. Which has been really surprising. So we'll go ahead and run through them. So there's very, very few altcoins that are actually hot on my radar right now. There's a few that could be changed very quickly by some positive, changes where we actually got some like reclaims and stuff going on. But for the most part, most of them look pretty bad. So first one that looked okay to me was going to be Ordinals. Ordinals trend structuring is still very much intact. And, basically I do think that Ordinals is potentially a good play. The other thing about Ordinals is that it's very highly correlated to Bitcoin because it's a Bitcoin related project. So high correlation to Bitcoin, effectively this is going to be a very high beta, BTC beta shitcoin. So Ordinals is definitely one to keep a close eye on. TLDR of everything, guys, big week, right? This is, definitely going to be a much bigger week than normal. There's very little certainty in life. The only and the only certainty we have this week is that there's going to be an opportunity to make money. There's also going to be an opportunity to lose money, right? But I feel very confident there's going to be lots of volatility and lots of juicy moves. People are going to get run over this week, most likely, and that presents an opportunity for other people to profit off their backs. So it's a hard world out there, but it is what it is. So I'm looking forward to next week. It's awesome that things like that, when an event like this is happening at the beginning of the year, it's so awesome. I really like hitting the year strong. Last year, basically three years in a row, I've had a really awesome quarter one that has set me up for the rest of the year. And I really do kind of believe in that momentum to carry you through the rest of the year. So we're really fortunate to have these kind of events lining up at the beginning of the year to set us up with some momentum throughout the rest. So anyways, I'll stop rambling. Good luck out there this week, guys. It's going to be a big one, and I'll see you out there. Cheers.